Welcome to this fourth diary entry to Open Assistant, Marketing Open Assistant. So we've covered quite a bit in the previous diary entries. We have set up Open Assistant with the different integrations being Nextcloud, Notion, the backend of our blog, but we might want to streamline our agents quite a bit. We've been brief in the past few setup steps, but we will start streamlining our agent structure now. What will we discuss today? First off, we set up Nextcloud to keep track of all our content. It doesn't really work, so we'll streamline that in another way. We still have quite some agents that do exist as pre-configured in Open Assistant. We'll also make that more lean and mean. And we also created a backlog system in the previous diary entry, which works really well. So we might want to put that a bit more central in our whole setup. Open Assistant is a self-learning system. So where can you see that? If you go to settings, you go to system prompts, you can actually see its own memories and soul that it has updated. What you can see here is that all the details that I've discussed with Steven on how the backlog system works, so that's right here, it put it in the system prompt, or in the memory actually, which is good because it will always be there. On the other hand, it will clog up the entire system prompt, so we might want to move that to a dedicated agent. It's very good if you want to manage the backlog all the time, but we might want to refine it. And there's also a bunch of unused tools. In general, you can see the tools assigned to the agents in the settings tools tab. Yeah, I've realized that quite a bit of these tools are just not used at all. So maybe I would just keep them out for now. Target setup for the different agents. This is what the target setup looks like for the different agents. Quite a bit of information. We have Steve. Steve is addressed via Slack. Then we have the coordinator agent. We'll go to that in a bit. The coordinator can activate based on the different intent keywords, as we discussed earlier, a subset of agents that are relevant to work for it. So what I would want to go forward to is a Notion agent, a Descript agent, a blog master, a research agent, and the system agent is the one that is still there, which I will not remove since it's quite useful if it needs to debug itself or have any internal thoughts. The Descript agent will do that in a bit. That's not fully done yet, but today we'll add the Notion agent, the blog master, and the research agent. Two of the three are already there, but we'll fine tune quite a bit. Maybe to explain then the integrations that are used. So as mentioned, we address Steven via Slack. Then on Slack, we can send images, PDF files, text or audio snippets. So the coordinator can transcribe or get all the content that is required. The Notion agent will mainly use tools that are Notion oriented. Descript will obviously use the Descript. The blog master uses our custom blog backend plugin. And the research agent will mainly use the browser integration to look for external information. Then in terms of tool, it's going to be relatively streamlined. Notion is going to be able to list, query, and search databases. Then create, update, and append entries. I will not assign the delete tool for now. It's not assigned. I didn't encounter any issues with that so far. Then a slide change. So I will make the blog master a bit more oriented to actually writing content as well. So the compose document tool that is already in Open Assistant by default, I'll assign that to the blog master. So it's all tied together. It is able to search posts, list posts, get a post. So if I want to make internal references whatsoever, it can create a draft, update a draft, and delete a draft. So that's going to be the core of the blog master. Then the research agent is going to be able to go to the outside world, browsing, navigating, fetching a page, and web searching information. And then on top of that, we have analyze content as a tool to synthesize different sources into actual responses. So getting there. First step, we'll go to the Agents tab on the settings screen. The main one that is going to be redundant is the writer and analyst agent, which is there by default. So I'll remove that. If you do that, the tools will become unassigned. As you can see, analyze content is now sitting here. I'll assign that to the research agent already. First, we want to make sure that the list of agents is actually correct. So first up, we have the coordinator agent. Let's have a look at the prompt. This is the default prompt for the coordinator agent. I won't touch that. There is a new agent that I want to add, and that is the Notion agent, which is actually dedicated on managing everything in Notion. As you can see, this is now spread a bit across the research agent, which is not entirely covering what I want. So I'll call that Notion agent, lowercase underscores only, perfect. So display name is going to be Notion agent. Role is going to be, it's actually a Notion database manager. The goal is relatively straightforward now. Keep track of notes, scripts, and the backlog for the user. So you are Notion agent, a dedicated specialist for managing the backlog, drafts, and notes in Ollie's Notion workspace. You create, read, update, and organize entries within the node database beyond that. Nothing beyond that. It has an indication of the ID of the database, the name of the database, the name of the integration, then a detail of all the fields that I have on this database, then different scenarios, and operational rules. So I'll create this agent. Let me refresh this. It's only when it has been created that you can add the intent keywords, which are really important for agents to be triggered. So if you look at the agent configuration, the Notion agent is going to be quite central to all the things that we do within this setup. And that's also the reason that I put it right under the coordinator agent, because I want it to be relatively high priority when it needs to be used. So Notion agent check, we'll add the tools in a bit. Then next up we have, let's have a look here, Descript. I will disable Descript for now, which is already done because it does not work as I want it for now. Master is going to be the next one. I will put the blog master above the research agent. Why is that? I feel like I'm going to provide more information myself already to Steven for it to then hand it over and write stuff to the blog. So the research specialist is really below the research agent in terms of priority. So blog master, let's have a look. What we have here, if you saw that in the system prompt I've shown earlier, the overall memory of the system already had the rules of the blog. So I basically fetch these as well. I will streamline the goal a bit. I'll add one intent keyword, which is write, since I will assign the write tool to it. And then I will take the whole backstory that I've actually gotten from the system prompt. So you're the blog master responsible to write content pieces for the blog and to manage the drafts on the blog backend. You have access to following actions. You can compose documents and access to the blog backend. I will not explicitly provide all the information on the tools. Why? Because tool information is dynamically constructed as you assign tools in the tools screen. Normally, when a tool is added, as you've seen in the plugin system, it's already described by itself. Then writing style, I want a call to action section at the end of every blog post. I think it makes sense for a blog post. Then the writing style, timeless, time-proof, no yesterday, no casual openers, as we've seen in one of the first diary entries. Then there is some information on the API usage, which is quite smart by itself. And it also indicates that it always needs to fill the SEO fields. So that is also useful information. That's what is learned over time. So I'll save this. The most trusted one, let's say, is the research agent. So first I'll Start with the intent keyword so that you have a whole idea of this. So it can browse, search, analyze, web, find, page, web page. There we go. Research specialist goal. So the goal is search, navigate, browse, and analyze real-world information to provide to the user and other agents. Now the prompt that I've actually only slightly changed. So it knows it's an interactive web browsing specialist that uses a real browser. So this is all the default stuff. But what I added in terms of research strategy, if the user asks to research a certain topic, first search for relevant sources, and then, so we have coordinator agent, Notion agent, blog master, and research agent. The Descript agent is currently disabled. Let's see whether the order is right. The order seems to be right. It's perfect. Let's move over to the tools. So then we can see that the Notion agent, which is new, has no tools assigned. And what I wanted to do is I'll take it from the research agent. I need to be able to create note, search, update a page, append content, list databases, query database, get a page, obviously, get the page content. Nextcloud, I will actually unassign. Let's go through one by one. So we have the coordinator agent. It can calculate stuff, nice, so that it's not all language. It can run a Python script. It can run Python autonomously. It can recall, it can use memory recall, create cron job, list cron jobs, git cron jobs, update, all the scheduling task stuff. Then Notion can do what we have defined in the target here. So search and handle pages, basically there is one missing on the blog master. The blog master should be able to write, which is probably in unassigned for now. Compose document, perfect. That needs to go to blog master. Compose document is important for that agent to be able to write content. So compose a document and then handle all the endpoints on the actual blog backend. Then we have the research agent, which can search the web, analyze content, navigate, as you can see, quite a bit of stuff online. And this is the new streamlined setup for Steven, basically. So the main conclusions, oh no, we still need to clean up the system prompt. So I'll take out all the stuff that is redundant now because it is in the broader or in the specific agents, which is actually more effective because it's only added to the system prompt when needed. So all the details of workflow preferences, tool usage are out. I'll save this. It will make it a bit cleaner. Integrations. Let's go. Tools. Agents. My bad. Let's go here. Okay, but these fields are actually covered already. Okay, perfect. So we have cleaned up the system prompts to be way shorter, which is really nice. I actually want to add something myself. You are an experienced marketing assistant. So I've added a first soul update. You're an experienced content marketing assistant communicating in a fluent, to the point and pragmatic manner. You look for solutions proactively. If you can't figure out something, you're honest about it and report back transparently. So let's save this. All good. This is way cleaner now. This looks really streamlined. So to wrap up, what did we learn? So Steven was already able to extract quite some technical and operational rules about the system, about how it works, but we can improve this ourselves because at this point we are still shaping the system, we are still seeing where it needs to go. We cannot expect yet the system to optimize itself fully autonomously because I do not know exactly where it should go. So it's gonna be an interaction between Steven figuring out what I want and me figuring out what I want. So we need to interact to actually come to this specific setup, for example. Then we have very narrow agents. So in the experience so far, it is way more effective to have narrow and clear sets of instructions for agents. Why is that? The system prompt or the context window can get clogged up if you add a bunch of statements in all kinds of directions. It can get quite confusing. It would be the analogy of if you need to do something that you have no idea what you're doing and 5 people are shouting different instructions at you, it can get confusing to get the right key points out of it. And then one thing that I want to add in the future for active backlog management, or to actively prompt me as a user via Slack for input, is to start setting up scheduled jobs. These scheduled jobs really rely on the availability of agents and tools on the system. And since I'm still changing the agents and the related tools quite a bit, I will not automate anything yet. So scheduling or automating stuff on a changing system is just creating more work for yourself in the future, or more rework. So I'm waiting for now. And the next big agent that we might add in the future is actually a link to be able to post to social channels, to make social media posts. But first, let's test this out. See you in the next one.